G'day everybody, Simon here, Explosive Action. I am back for another update. This time I've got 4 OG 80s metal vinyl to show you, so let's get into it. So I might only have 4 albums in this update, and I'm probably going to go through them pretty quick because they're incredibly familiar, I think, to everybody. But geez, the quality here is great, and like I said, they are 80s press, they're original press, and one of them particularly, honestly all of them, but one of them particularly was a grail item. And yeah, we'll get to that one last because I'm going to keep you with bated breath. But the first one I'm going to take a look at here, the first one, it's actually 5 LPs really that I think about it here, which will make sense soon. But the first one, this was another one to complete part of a collection that I was really wanting to complete, and just one of my favorite albums of all time. This is Sepultura. Sepultura. This is Sepultura and Arise. This is the original Euro release, 1991 on Road Racer. I mean, like I said, I could probably burn through this entire update in 30 seconds because what do I need to say about this thing? It's absolute classic, absolute thrash to piece. I had this on CD. This would have been in one of the first, say, 15, maybe even 10 CDs I ever bought, and I still have that original CD. I would have bought that in like 1996, 1995, maybe, something along those lines. And I've still got my original copy. It is also a Road Racer, maybe a Road Runner, but either way. And this was the last of the original LPs I wanted to get from the band. I've got Bestial Devastations, not the split with Overdose, that's obscenely rare, but I've got the Roadrunner version of that. Morbid Visions, of course, Schizophrenia, which is my favorite, Beneath the Remains, I've got an original, and now Arise. Chaos AD, I've got my original CD, and that's enough, I think, for that's a great album, but doesn't really fit the theme, and it's a 90s album. So, I mean, this is a 90s album, but 1991, that's basically 1989, right? Anyway, first time I heard this fantastic thing, here's the back, was a video clip on a community television station, Channel 31 Sydney. Going back again, probably to 1995, and they played. It was a community TV station, right? So it was broadcast incredibly low power, probably from a clothesline, and it had this metal video channel called, well, not channel, program, metal video program called Warzone. If you pointed the aerial at the right way and it was a clear day, just about get a signal. And I remember seeing a very fuzzy, very snowy version of the Arise video clip, and that was really my first experience in hearing this band. I heard Chaos AD pretty soon after that, but video clip for Arise, I mean, at this point, I was listening to Metallica. I just found Fear Factory, a couple of other things like that. Nothing too massively extreme. I was very much Metallica kid at this point. Pantera, that kind of stuff. And then I heard and saw the clip for this, and it was just practically felt demonic. I mean, it's on the cross, and it was so fast, and the production so heavy, basically death thrash. And it's fantastic, and I've always loved the album ever since. I mean, yeah, Arise, Dead Emperor and Excels is absolute classic. Desperate Cries, an absolute classic. I mean, it's all great on here. I always liked Meaningless Moments. Meaningless movements. I always liked that one. Infected Voice is a great ending track. I mean, the whole thing's fantastic. I mean, look at Igor there with his bright orange hair. Yeah, not so much anymore. But yeah, not only did I get this for a great price. Let me show you the inside for this. We've got to do the show and tell. So here's the inner. They kept the old logo, but only on an inner. So this is the font logo, which they did on Beneath the Rains as well. But yeah, there's the original old school logo, the original inner sleeve here. With all the lyrics. Fan club, the Troops of Doom fan club in England, apparently. And we have a nice Road Racer LP. Pretty strong VG plus there. Sounds fantastic. So, yeah, very, very happy with this. Now, this record and the next 2 I got from the one seller, all from Facebook group. I was actually tagged by somebody that knew I was after the next album I'm going to show. And when I saw that, well, what else you got? And cleaned up three. So I ordered three things. This was one of them. Of course, I ordered three things, and we came up with a good deal. The seller gave me a little bonus. The original picture disc. I had no idea. We didn't discuss this. It was just in the mailer. And I was like really, really shocked, almost thinking this was a mistake. But he had a little note on it saying, it doesn't play well. It's got a locked groove somewhere. Just use it as a nice, wall hanging in your cave and enjoy it. And that's absolutely what I'm going to be doing with it. It's a 1991 picture disc. It's not going to sound amazing. I mean, picture discs sound a lot better now, but back then, not so great. Very, very surface noisy if I try to play. I haven't tried to play it. But the interesting thing with the picture disc, obviously with a different back cover here, which is cool, but we get Orgasmatron as a bonus track, which is not on the original LP, not on my original CD. Didn't show up again, I don't think, until the Third World Posse EP. I'm pretty sure that's when I first heard it. Here on the picture disc they had it. So there you go. All right. So yeah, the original, wherever I put it, the original LP and the picture disc. I mean, what a great combo. Pretty thrilled with that. So yeah, awesome stuff. Absolutely love it. Sepultura, Arise. The next one I'm going to show here was the thing that I was actually tagged in on Facebook. That drew my attention to the seller, and I was very, very thankful for being shown this, because I've been after this one for a long time. It's been a high priority, but not a stupidly high priority, because there's plenty of copies of this thing, and I was just waiting for one that was a really good condition and a really good price, and I was waiting for it in Australia, and it would happen eventually. Finally happened, and it completes as far as I want to go with this band, and that is Slayer, Rain in Blood. Nothing more needs to be said, of course, but this is, for me, completes. I have Show No Mercy original. I got the Haunting the Chapel EP just a couple of months ago. Nice original there. Hell Awaits, Rain in Blood, and that's about all I really care about. I mean, okay, maybe it's a bit, controversial, but I'm not fussed on the ones after this. They're okay, they're fine. I don't need to own them, so I'm not going to own them. I had them on CD for ages, never listened to them. Rain in Blood, though, absolute classic. It is fast and ferocious, and very much happy to have this one. I've also got a CD of Alive Undead that was signed, so that's why I've kept that one. But yeah, Rain in Blood. I mean, yes. In terms of pressings, this thing's had about as many as Master of Puppets. So you got to play the game on Discogs. What did I actually get here? And what I have here is the 1986 UK press. And it's on Def Jam, and it's on Geffen, but it's also on London Records, which is a little logo down here. So London, Geffen, and Def Jam. So it looks very much like the US one, but has the London Records stamp on it. And according to Discogs, when I was logging this thing, and after listening to it, of course, it has a richer sound apparently than the US press. And it's also called the Karen R press, and I'll try and show that in a minute. Probably won't come up on the camera, but it's the Karen R press. It's strange. It sounds absolutely amazing, though. The comments on Discogs were completely accurate. It has a very full, vibrant sound, very clear and crisp. This particular copy I've got sounds basically mint. There's no clicks, there's no pops, there's no anything. Very, very good price, well under what you needed, what you usually would pay for something like this. Def Jam recordings and lyrics. Everyone knows this. Over and done with, 28 minutes. That's all she wrote. Quick as, and yeah, really, really, really strong VG Plus on this one. There you go, the Def Jam with the London Records logo on it. Now, it's not going to come up, is it? But anyway, on the, it's, where are we? I think that's it there. It's not going to come up, but on the inner groove, you have to trust me, down there, for some reason, it says Karen R, and it's engraved in it. So it's kind of become known as the Karen R press, probably because it's so ridiculous. I have no idea who she is. But if you look for it on like Pop Psych, like as a sold item, you find it there. People make a point of putting it in the title of the listing. There is the Karen R press. Okay, whatever. And yeah, it's written on Discogs as the marker on the Renat groove. So yeah, strange, but It is Slayer. It is Rain and Blood. And if you're in the market for a copy of Rain and Blood on original press, I can highly, highly recommend this London Records version. Still Def Jam, still Geffen, but it's that London Records Karen R press. Whatever. Absolute classic. Buy it. So the next one is one I've always had on my radar, but I never even bothered putting in my wish list because the prices on this were always far too high for what I wanted to pay. And that happens sometimes, like with these things, like if the going price is always well above anything I'm going to pay, I won't even bother adding to my wish list. Like, what's the point? You know, one day I'll get excited and a cheap one will show up and it'll just be one that doesn't have a cover or something like that, or it's listed as fair, and I'll just get annoyed. So I don't bother adding it. And this was one of those examples. Um, so seeing it for the price I did on this Facebook sale, and then keep in mind that then I bought all three records and we worked a deal even further. Um, yeah, Vio-Lence, Eternal Nightmare. Just absolutely thrilled to pick this thing up. Um, yes, you know, it's a little bit partied on. I think just the cover anyway. Not outrageous. Like, it's got a little bit of ring wear that kind of matches the mouth anyway. And obviously the corners are a little bit beaten up, but I own far worse than this, and so do you. And most importantly, it sounds fantastic. It plays really, really strong. So I got a really good deal on this one. Gave it a good bath. I got the warning from the seller. So he said that on track one, on side A, it had 3 pops he could hear. So, like, okay, fair enough. So he adjusted the price accordingly. And yeah, I gave it a nice bath, like I gave all of these things with my wax wash spray stuff. And sure, I can still hear them, but I've got new pressings that make louder pops than on this thing. So thrilled, absolutely thrilled to have this. It is as for the pressing here, it's the Mechanic Records original press. I'll show you the inside in a second. And yeah, it is really one of the most underrated thrash albums of the day, I think. I mean, I'd say anybody watching this video knows it, but when I'm saying underrated, I mean this should have been up there with Testament, The Legacy, and Bonded by Blood. Like, really should have been up there. And I think maybe it was at the time, but it's definitely been forgotten a bit, probably because it was very hard to get copies for a long time. I'm not even sure if there's a CD in print at the moment or what the story is with this thing, but man, it is such a good album. I really, really enjoyed listening to it. Wasn't one I was familiar with, as I was with the last two and the one after this. But yeah, I've really, really enjoyed spinning this one. I think, everybody knows this was Rob Flynn from Machine Head, his first band. He was on the first 3 albums, including this one. This is the debut. And he didn't come back for the 2022 sort of reunion EP, which I've not heard. But yeah, he's playing guitar on this thing before he jumped over to Machine Head and jumped the fuck up. But yeah, great album. There we go. There's the band. It is what do you call it, a gold press promo, which isn't particularly listed on Discogs as a thing. As far as I can tell, it is just the same record, but it's got this stamp on it which says promotional use only. But it's very hard to read it. MCA Records something sale is unlawful. Unlawful, it says. Well, whatever. Time has moved on. So we'll take a look inside. We get the LP and the inner. There's the inner. Now, so the inner's been taped up a little bit. I don't care. There's the band thrashing out. There's the thanks list. You can see the tape a bit more. Again, don't care. And the LP. Probably meant to be inside that, but at some point it's picked up this plain one as well. And there's the Mechanic logo. And yeah, just another pretty good VG plus. Like I said, it's got a couple of pops, but they're really, really light. It's more like dust on the groove rather than a big, piece of damage or something. So yeah, really, really happy, really stoked for Vio-Lence Eternal Nightmare. Like I said, an album I'm not that familiar with compared to the others. So yeah, I'm going to get way more familiar with it now. So I've saved the best for last here. You may recall recently I made a response video to the Heavy Metallurgy Metal Tag for 2025. Many of you did. Really great fun thread, and it had 20 questions in there that were really good fun to answer. One of the questions was a plea to the VCLT gods. What is a grail you are looking for? And just put it out there and hope that somebody will come to your savior, and somehow you'll end up with a copy of it. Well, it worked. I've got to say it worked. I had two main grails I mentioned. The first one was Toxic Think This. Still on the look for that one. But the other one that I mentioned, Sodom Persecution Mania, beyond stoked. And for the price I paid, ridiculously stoked. The obviously was a viewer of the channel. He wishes to remain anonymous, but he reached out to me, and we came up with this price, and just thrilled. So, I mean, a little bit of backstory, which I mentioned in that video, was that I was scammed originally on picking up a copy of this last year. I had scored a deal for the white. There was two versions that came out, the black and the white. Scored a deal for the white, saw the photos, great. Apparently a trusted seller on this Facebook group, okay. Gave him the money, okay. Said he'd sent it, good. And then it all started to fall apart, where all of these people that had bought from this guy, he had a few records that were all checking notes, and turned out I was one of at least three people that bought the same record from him. Other people were buying stuff, like 4 or 5 people were buying the same thing. It was a nightmare. The guy vanished, and word through the grapevine is he was chucked in jail for unrelated reasons. But sucks to be him. Didn't get my money back, and I just got very annoyed, and I've been looking for it ever since. And yes, the plea to the VCLT gods, thank you very much, sir. You know who you are. Sodom Persecution Mania, the Steam Hammer. This is in the white. It's the black, and just over the moon. Was not going to settle for anything besides an original press. It had to be this. Already own in the Sign of Evil original, Obsessed by Cruelty original, and Agent Orange on original. So needed this one. Fits right there in the middle. It's been annoying me for a long time. Had the first, second, and fourth, and did not have the third. I've got what is it? Better Off Dead and Tapping the Vein on the original CDs. I'm good with that. But this I needed to get this on vinyl, and now I've got it. Yay! And it's such a fantastic album. You all know that. Sodom Persecution Mania. For a lot of people, it is their favorite. I mean, Nuclear Winter is undeniably one of their best songs. I still think Obsessed by Cruelty is my favorite. But you listen to a track like Nuclear Winter and you can hear it. They're just pulling themselves a little out of that primordial first EP, first album, and heading towards Agent Orange. This is that thing in the middle. It's really good to have sort of like that album in the middle before you get a little bit like Creator, a little bit like that too. You know, their first album was, you know, in your borderline blackened kind of thrash, just primordial, and then by the third album they were way more technical. Second album in the middle there, Pleasure to Kill, had this sweet spot of being vicious and raw, but just starting to really hone their art, and that's Persecution Mania. So yeah, utterly amazed and thrilled. Plays fantastically. There's the nice inner. There you go. There's the boys in the black leathers. So good. There's the lyrics. Just amazing. And that is the black. And there is our Wodos logo. Wonderful. And there's the Steam Hammer inner there. It's got you know, it's obviously had some rough needle drops in its many years of playing. It's got some sort of scuffs on the outside. You know, so the first maybe 2-3 seconds of each side have got a bit of crackle and pop, but it goes away before the music even starts. So and also, I mean, like it's an 80s Sodom record. Like I can survive with a little bit of grit. It doesn't have much anyway. Sodom Persecution Mania, absolutely fantastic. Thrilled to have it in the collection. A holy grail is done. And that's it. That is the 5 records I'm going to be showing today. All 80s or 1991 for Arise, you know, push it out a little bit there. But it's 80s in spirit, and man, aren't we all? I'm just stoked. Absolutely fantastic to have these things. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed watching with me. And if you did, please like, subscribe. Check out that guy. Check out that guy. And I'll see you next time.